Well, this is terrific. Look at the size of it. Yeah. And welcome to the Nuns on the Ferry. My name is Mark Hannay. I'm director of the Metro New York Healthcare for All campaign. We're a citywide coalition of community groups, labor unions, professional associations, and faith congregations who believe that healthcare is a human right for all New Yorkers and all in America. We're very proud and delighted to be welcoming the Nuns on the Bus movement to New York City today in our own special way that only New Yorkers can do, a Nuns on the Ferry. The Nuns and the ferry was free, absolutely. Yeah, we didn't have to rent a bus or anything like that. I'm also here representing a statewide campaign called Restore the American Promise that has been sponsoring Nuns on the Bus events across New York State this summer and this fall. We're a campaign that's here. We came together a little over a year ago to fight for our nation's historic social contract and social safety net, to protect our important programs such as Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, food stamps, unemployment insurance, and all those things that millions of Americans and New Yorkers and Staten Islanders have come to rely on during the Great Recession. We're also here to promote a positive agenda for change in this country, and that is an agenda of restoring tax fairness, of focusing on jobs, and of promoting a politics of economic recovery and rejecting a politics of economic austerity.
That's right.
So we're going to hear today from some of the nuns who've been on the bus and on the ferry, and we're going to hear from some local Staten Islanders about how this issue is very important to them and how we need to convey some important messages to Representative Michael Grimm, who represents Staten Island and parts of southern Brooklyn. Our first speaker is going to be Sister Simone Campbell, who's been kind of spearheading the whole Nuns on the Bus project nationally. Many of you may have seen or heard her speak recently at the Democratic National Convention. Sister Simone.
Thank you so much. What a great way to have my first visit to Staten Island on such a glorious day. It is with joy that we come together, but it's also with grave concern. Concern for our nation and for the choices that are being made. We went on the bus as Catholic sisters to speak out against the Ryan budget. Our U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops had said that the Ryan budget did not pass the basic moral test because it hurts people at the margins of our society. And therefore, we stand with our bishops to speak out against this budget. The budget has been endorsed by Governor Romney and been passed by the House of Representatives. It is the wrong way forward. What the Ryan budget does is it shifts more money to the very top by giving them additional tax breaks. That's wrong. That's the wrong way forward. And it does that by stripping social services for those at the margins of our society. That does not form a more perfect union. And we know that, Congressman Ryan says, well, he gives more money to those who make jobs. But we also know the definition of insanity. It's when you keep doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. Well, the fact is, if we're serious about supporting our economy, we want to shift money to where there's pent-up demand. And that's with those who are struggling at the bottom, those working for minimum wage, those working who are unable to keep both a roof over their heads and food on their family table. That's what we care about. And so, since I have to hop on the ferry really fast, I'll be really quick. There's Nuns on the Bus, the story on our website at networklobby.org. But there's also the faithful budget, The faithful budget is the way forward. The Christian, Jewish, and Muslim community came together in D.C. and we put together an alternative. And all right, choir, are you ready for this? The way to go forward is this: reasonable revenue for responsible programs. All right, a little weak, one more time. Reasonable revenue for responsible programs. That's the way forward. Thank you, Staten Island. I'm sure you're going to see the light. It's the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Campbell. She has to get back to Manhattan to do some media interviews, so we're going to hear from some of the other nuns on the bus. First, I want to welcome a new New Yorker who's helping to lead this effort here in New York, Sister Mary Ellen Lacey.
Hello again. This feels so weird having my back to you. I'm sorry. I was asked to speak a little bit today about more of the programs and the beautiful things that we saw along the roads when we traveled on the Nuns on the Bus. And we traveled through many states, 2,700 miles, as Simone said. But I think the one story for me that captures the whole spirit of the Nuns on the Bus was a story about a little boy in Philadelphia. It was at the Mercy Ministries. And the Mercy Ministries is a responsible program. It provides computer skills, job skills, daycare for both seniors and children. It is funded by the federal government and it needs money, which the Ryan budget would take away. We were visiting this program. That's all right, everyone's on the bus. We visited this program in Philadelphia and they asked the little boy to speak to us. And I like to tell this story because I think the little boy captures the spirit of what we owe to each other and what the Nuns on the Bus was all about. Miguel was 5 years old, or second grader, whatever age that is. But he was a little short little boy with some wire-rimmed glasses, and when his turn to talk, he just took the microphone, proud as can be. And he walked around to the podium, he looked at us, and he said, "My name is Miguel, and I am a shining star." He said that he had learned in this program that his job was to light the way for everyone else along the journey. So he decided that he would be a shining star. I think that this program shows us a lot, and this young man shows us a lot. This program allowed this boy to reach his potential at a young age. Obviously, it's not his permanent potential, but he was potentiating himself as he went along the road because of this responsible program. Not only was he doing that, he was owning his responsibility to his fellow man. He knew he was to light the way for other people along the journey. And that's what we're called to do. And the Ryan budget dims the light for everybody else who requires these federal programs, these reasonable programs that allow people to step out of the depths of poverty. The Ryan budget is not a moral budget, and we ask that everybody vote when you come out in November, and vote with your heart and take care of each other and vote responsibly, and remember we belong to each other.
Yeah.
I want to now introduce a more local reasonable program. Sister Janet Kinney here is the director of Providence House, and that provides local services for many, many women here, and she'll tell you more about that.
Good afternoon. And it's a true privilege to be here today, and I'm very proud that I'm a sister of St. Joseph of Brentwood, New York, here with my sisters, and here also with all my brothers and sisters. And if I were to characterize a phrase of who my sisters are, I would call them sisters of the neighborhood, women trying to meet the needs of the people where she ministered and lived. That was the work of our foundresses way back in 17th century France. And that's the work that Providence House began back in 1979. That same vision when they opened up a house of hospitality in East Flatbush, Brooklyn, to serve women coming out of prison, women who needed a place to stay to begin their lives again. Now here we are 33 years later in one of the largest and complex cities of our country, where 1 in 5 New Yorkers live below the poverty line, where almost 20,000 children and 26,000 adults live in temporary shelter. These are the New Yorkers that Providence House continues to serve. And they are our brothers and sisters, our nieces, our nephews, our sons and daughters. Our mission has always been about sheltering women and children in hospitable, home-like environments, providing shelters and services in transitional shelters, and also providing permanent housing, where creating communities and transforming lives are our hallmark. But yes, we are challenged. We are challenged, like many of the nonprofits across the city, some of which you'll hear from shortly, to serve the growing numbers in need with dwindling financial resources. We serve homeless families, mostly young families, single parents with limited skills, families like Juanita, who gave birth to her second child while she lived with us. She went back to college, got a job at a major New York City hospital, and now lives independently in her own home, caring for her 2 children. Yay! This is what your nonprofits do today. And we also serve women who are incarcerated, and these are one of the most forgotten populations. Aside from that stigma of being imprisoned, these women face that harsh reality of rebuilding their lives, not only financially, but also reuniting with loved ones. And just think about it. Think about those children who very often are split up. Because when the woman goes to prison, where do those children go? They enter foster care, or they get split up with family and friends. And over 2/3 of women in prison now have children under the age of 18. So it is a very daunting task that these women face to start anew and become self-sufficient. But yet they do. Even though they face those terrific odds, many who are dealing with histories of mental illness, domestic abuse, they are the survivors in our city. These are the women who are highly motivated to do for themselves and are deserving of a second chance. And I am very proud to say that while in New York State the recidivism rate is hovering around 40%, the recidivism rate of the women that live in Providence House is under 5%. So aren't these programs that you want to support? But unfortunately, this is the population for whom public funding is just about non-existent, and I worry what will happen if we can no longer serve them. I welcome our government partners to join with us and become part of that success story. Women like Renee, who is here today, who was quoted in the New York Times just last week. Women who, because of Providence House and programs like Providence House, pick themselves up, now give back to our city as skilled nurses, home health aides, office workers, executive assistants. These are the people that want to give back, want to be part of the mainstream. So I ask you, help us support them. Help these women, these children who are our future. Let's not be satisfied with that status quo and life as it is today. Let us inspire one another here. Let us help one another reach our human potential. And wouldn't it be wonderful if it could be said of the people of Staten Island, of this great city, this country, when I was hungry, you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. A stranger, you welcomed me. Naked, you clothed me. Ill, you fed me. In prison, and you visited me. Yes, it can be. We can encourage one another to be that voice for the voiceless, to make your vote count. And I told the others on the other side, this morning I got a beautiful letter from a family in California, the Kennedys, who read the New York Times last week, and this is what they say to all of us. I'm sure there are days that test your souls. Hold still when that comes until you can shift to a smile, realizing the glory and good fortune you have to be alive and doing good things. So let's be about those good things today. Thank you.
We'd now like to welcome Reverend Terry Troya, who is the coordinator of the Staten Island Clergy Leadership. Reverend Troya.
We welcome the Nautical Division of the Nuns on the Bus, the Nuns on the Ferry, our island. I'm here today as a member of the Staten Island Clergy Leadership, Staten Island's only interfaith social action network for religious leadership across all faith communities. We honor not only the nuns that got on and got off the boat and are going back, but the ones that work right here in our Staten Island community that are sitting here today. I'm here because I was educated by nuns for 13 years. And then educated by priests for another 5 years. And I'm still here today. I'm here today as a Protestant pastor to tell you that we support the U.S. bishops and the women who carry the cause of the gospel. And to say that we will be judged by the guy that's really in charge, or the girl, the lady that's really in charge, by how we treat the poor. That will determine whether we have a moral budget and whether we do the right thing in Washington. So we encourage our elected officials to pick up a copy of Nuns on the Bus, the pocket version, and read the principles of justice that come directly out of the scriptures, and to make sure that the poor are counted in every decision that is made, because our God is watching and working through us. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Troy, and I just want to take a moment to acknowledge my own personal background. I'm the son of a Methodist minister. So, at any rate, I too grew up, and he worked in the social justice tradition in the western part of New York State where I was raised. And I'm really glad to be here. I'm here in his memory today. I'm sure he's looking down and smiling. I now want to welcome to the microphone Diane Blanford, who is a member of Community Voices Heard, which is an organization that started out in New York City and is going statewide and works to empower low-income people to speak for themselves to the voices of power. Diane? Yeah. Diane is a resident of the South Shore.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Diane, and I live in the southeast section. Good evening, everyone. My name is Diane Blanford, and I live in the Southeast Project in Staten Island, here the Forgotten Borough. Hey, I'm here today to stand in unity with our nuns and to support the faithful budget and protest Ryan's budget proposal and Congressman Grimm's support of it. Just a few facts. I'm not talking about a WEP program, work experience program. The meaning of WEP is modern day slavery. The city just started to require WEP people receiving food stamps to work. More than 1,500 people do WEP every day. Okay, it's 1,500 now because we saved 300 of them with the Parks Opportunity Program. Okay, CVH wants to destroy the WEP program totally and get transitional jobs for people to work and get a union paid benefits and can do stuff for themselves. Yes. Okay. A few more little talks is that there are over 3,021,000 folks on the TAP program, which is temporary assistance to needed families, with kids of the U.S. Department of the U.S. Department of Health and Services. Sorry for that. CVH began the transitional job campaign for a budget and policy priority, says Ryan, has cut $463 billion from TAP and SSI. Affordable housing. Over 8,000 night workers are laid off, making it hard for us to get repairs done in our projects, maybe 2 years, maybe longer. But they found over $2 billion in their budget, which was a layaway plan. Since 1995, over 200,000 affordable apartments have been destroyed and replaced with 1 or 2 family homes. Okay, now that they've done this, the families can either go to shelters, live homeless, or live with their families. This is something that we don't want. People are losing their jobs, education, everything. Put it this way, after the banks got bailed out, they got richer and richer. But Main Street sold us out, the poor people. People like teachers, transit workers, union jobs. You name it, they're doing it through the program. Community centers for children to hang out at, to work and do something. They can no longer do this because there's no money in the so-called budget to produce these problems, that solve these problems. Sorry, I'm a little nervous, but I apologize for that. Anyway, What I'm trying to say here is Staten Island is like the forgotten borough. Everything's been done over the water and not brought back here. But I stand strong to represent Staten Island, me and a few other ones that are out there. And what I want to say right now, I'm almost finished. Okay. And it will take the power of the people to get this change to come. It is great today to have representation from so many different groups, all working together for something so important. Ryan's budget proposal and Congressman Grimm's support of it is a form of inequality and injustice. But I'm trying to say not so many words, because Medicaid is being cut, Medicare is being cut, Social Security is being cut. They don't care if you're disabled on Social Security, they still require you to do some kind of work because you receive food stamps. All right, this is what it's all about. You have children in the ACS system, not because the mother was a bad mother or the father was a bad father, for the simple fact they could not put them in the shelters with them because a lot of shelter does not allow children. So now you got the families all being broken up, all because of a budget that is not for us, but should be for us, because we the people, by the people, for the people, should be able to have something to say about the way the government is.